The restaurant shimmered under soft candlelight, every table glowing like a secret waiting to be told. Ryan Torres shifted in his seat, feeling out of place in his plain gray shirt and jeans. The scent of truffle pasta and expensive wine filled the air, and all he could think about was how badly he wanted to be back in his garage, where grease stains and engine sounds felt like home. At 31, Ryan owned a small auto repair shop. Nothing fancy, but honest work. Tonight, though, he wasn't fixing cars. He was here because his sister had pushed him into a blind date. She's kind, she'd promised. Genuine. Worth stepping out of your comfort zone for. He glanced at his phone again. Table by the window. Look for the woman in blue. Ryan scanned the restaurant until he spotted her, a woman sitting by the window in a stunning blue dress. Her blonde hair fell in soft, graceful waves. She looked calm, elegant, and way out of his league. But what made him pause wasn't her beauty. It was the wheelchair beside the table. His sister hadn't mentioned that. Ryan hesitated. Maybe he had the wrong person? But she was the only woman in blue sitting alone. Heart thumping, he walked over, trying to sound confident. "Hi," he said with a nervous smile. "I'm Ryan. Are you waiting for someone?" The woman looked up, and for a moment the world went quiet. Her eyes were warm, and her smile effortless, kind. "I am," she said lightly. "Are you supposed to be meeting someone here?" Ryan scratched the back of his neck. "Yeah, my sister set me up on a blind date. Said to look for a woman in blue, table by the window. So, I'm guessing that's you?" Her smile faltered just a bit. "I think there's been a mix-up," she said softly. "I'm not on a blind date. I'm waiting for my father." "He's always late." Ryan's stomach dropped. "Oh, wow, I'm so sorry." "I didn't mean to," but she laughed. A bright, genuine laugh that immediately eased his embarrassment. "Please don't apologize," she said, still smiling. "This is actually the most interesting thing that's happened to me in weeks. I'm Anna, by the way. Anna Lawrence." "Ryan Torres," he replied, unsure if he should leave or sit. Anna tilted her head playfully. "Tell you what, my father will probably be another 20 minutes. Why don't you keep me company until he shows up, or until you find your mystery date? Seems a shame to waste a good mix-up, don't you think?" Ryan hesitated, then smiled. "Won't your father mind seeing a random guy at your table?" "Oh, he'll love it," Anna said with a knowing grin. "He's been trying to set me up for months, convinced I need someone to take care of me. He'll probably think you're one of his setups he forgot to mention." Ryan frowned gently. "Take care of you?" Anna followed his gaze to the wheelchair and nodded without hesitation. "I was in a car accident 3 years ago. Spinal injury. My dad still hasn't quite accepted that I'm the same person, just with a few new wheels." There wasn't an ounce of self-pity in her voice. "Just quiet strength. That must be frustrating," Ryan said softly. Anna smiled, her eyes bright. "You have no idea," she replied. "Don't get me wrong. I love my father," Anna said after a pause, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass. "He's wonderful in a lot of ways, but he's convinced no man will ever want to be with me now. So he keeps introducing me to people he thinks might overlook my disability, out of kindness or guilt or whatever reason he imagines." She gave a small, tired laugh. "It's exhausting." Ryan felt a spark of anger stir in his chest. "That's ridiculous," he said firmly. "Anyone who sees your wheelchair before they see you doesn't deserve a single minute of your time." Anna blinked, caught off guard. Her expression softened. "That's the first time anyone said something like that to me," without it sounding like pity or forced optimism. Ryan smiled faintly. "I'm not being nice, Anna. I'm just telling the truth. I've known you 5 minutes, and I can already tell the chair's the least interesting thing about you." That made her laugh, genuinely laugh, the kind that lit up her entire face. From there, conversation flowed easily, like they'd known each other for years. Anna was sharp and funny, her questions thoughtful. She didn't treat Ryan's job like a curiosity, and she didn't hide surprise when he mentioned owning his own repair shop. "So you run the place yourself?" she asked, eyes wide with interest. "Yeah," Ryan said, relaxing into the moment. "Started it 6 years ago. Small, but it's mine." "That's amazing," she said. I love people who build something with their own hands. Ryan grinned. And you? What do you do? Her whole face lit up. I'm a software developer. I code for a living. He raised his brows. That's impressive, Anna laughed. My father thinks it's a hobby, something to keep me busy. He can't wrap his head around the fact that it's my career and that I'm actually good at it. Why does he think it's not real work? Ryan asked, genuinely curious. Because I work from home, Anna said with a shrug. In his world, real work happens in glass buildings with conference tables and suits. He doesn't understand that I can make a great living doing what I love without ever leaving my apartment. Ryan was about to respond when a deep, familiar voice interrupted them. Anna, darling. A man in an expensive gray suit approached the table, his cologne arriving before he did. His hair was perfectly styled, his watch gleaming beneath the chandelier. He leaned down and kissed Anna's cheek. I'm sorry I'm late. His eyes flicked to Ryan, confusion flashing briefly before he masked it with polite formality. And this is... Anna smiled mischievously. Dad, this is Ryan Torres. He sat at my table by mistake, thinking I was his blind date. We've been having a lovely conversation while waiting for you. Ah. The man straightened, his gaze sweeping over Ryan from his worn jeans to his calloused hands. A blind date, you say? And you work as... I own Torres Auto Repair, Ryan said, meeting the man's eyes evenly. Been building the business for 6 years. How interesting, Robert Lawrence said, his tone smooth but distant, as though the words auto repair had left a faint stain on his tailored suit. He turned to his daughter. Anna, your usual table is ready in the private dining room. Shall we? Anna looked from her father to Ryan, her jaw tightening just slightly. Actually, Dad, I was hoping Ryan might join us for dinner, she said. His date seems to have stood him up, and I've enjoyed his company. Ryan opened his mouth to protest. Oh, I couldn't possibly intrude. You're not intruding, Anna said firmly, her gaze steady on his. You're invited. Please, Ryan, Anna said softly, unless you'd rather not. Ryan hesitated, glancing at the woman who'd turned a random mix-up into something real. The warmth in her eyes made the decision easy. If your father doesn't mind, he said, I'd be honored. Robert did mind, that much was clear. But years of refinement kept his disapproval wrapped in polite smiles. He led them into a private dining room lit by a soft chandelier glow where the air itself felt expensive. As they sat, Robert began what could only be described as an interrogation disguised as small talk. So, Mr. Torres, he began, slicing into his steak with unnecessary precision. How many employees does your shop have? And you said auto repair, correct? That must be quite the hands-on profession. Very, Ryan replied evenly, keeping his tone respectful but unflinching. Anna caught his eye across the table, suppressing a grin as she rolled her eyes ever so slightly at her father's attempts to sound cordial. When Robert excused himself to take a phone call, Anna leaned forward, voice low. I'm so sorry. He's impossible sometimes. You don't have to sit through this. Ryan shook his head. I'm not going anywhere. She blinked, surprised. Your father's trying to protect you, Ryan said quietly. I get that. But he's wrong about one thing. Anna tilted her head. What's that? He thinks you need someone to take care of you, Ryan said. But everything I've seen tonight tells me you don't. You just need someone who respects your strength and walks beside you, not someone who treats you like you'll break. Anna's eyes shimmered. That's exactly what I've been trying to make him understand. When Robert returned, his polite mask was back in place, but his questions didn't stop. Ryan stayed composed, matching the older man's confidence with quiet assurance. He asked Robert about his business, listened intently, even complimented his accomplishments. But when the conversation turned to Anna's limitations, Ryan spoke up with calm conviction that made Robert pause. By the end of dinner, something had subtly shifted. Maybe not in Robert, but in Anna. She couldn't stop smiling at Ryan, as if his presence alone reminded her that she wasn't fragile. When Robert went to bring the car around, Ryan turned to her. I'd like to see you again, he said. Not because I pity you, and not because I want to take care of you, but because you're funny, smart, and I haven't enjoyed talking to someone this much in years. Would that be okay? Anna's lips curved into a soft, luminous smile. I'd be very interested in that. But I should warn you, my father isn't going to make this easy, Ryan chuckled. I didn't expect easy. I expected worthwhile, and you are definitely worthwhile. In the months that followed, their connection deepened into something solid, equal parts romance and partnership. Ryan learned about accessibility, about the subtle daily challenges Anna faced, and how to help without smothering. Anna learned to trust that Ryan saw her, not her chair, not her past, but her. Robert remained skeptical, certain Ryan would either want Anna's money or run when things got difficult. But Ryan kept showing up, every single time. The turning point came one rainy night when a storm flooded Ryan's shop. By the time he arrived, water had soaked the floor, and his crew was overwhelmed. Then headlights cut through the downpour. Anna's car. She rolled in without hesitation, sleeves pushed up, eyes fierce with determination. "Where do you need me?" she said. And before Ryan could answer, she'd already taken charge, organizing the cleanup, coordinating deliveries, even setting up a digital system to track repairs while the shop was offline. Anna worked tirelessly, her wheelchair barely slowing her down as she directed Ryan's team with calm authority. Her voice carried over the chaos of splashing water and clattering tools. She was efficient, sharp, and completely in control, delegating tasks, solving problems, typing furiously on her laptop to create a temporary workflow system so clients wouldn't lose track of their repairs. When Robert arrived, umbrella in hand, he froze at the sight before him. His daughter, the one he'd spent years trying to protect, was commanding the room like a general. Every person looked to her for direction. She wasn't fragile. She wasn't broken. She was leading. Ryan stood beside Robert, drenched and exhausted, but proud beyond words. "She's incredible," he said quietly. Robert's gaze softened. "I've spent so long treating her like she needed saving," he admitted. "But she doesn't, does she?" Ryan shook his head. "She never did. She just moves through the world differently now. But she's the same brilliant, unstoppable woman she's always been. You just have to be willing to see her that way." Robert didn't reply. But for the first time in years, he truly looked at his daughter, saw her, and something inside him shifted. A year later, in the very same auto shop that had once been underwater, Ryan transformed the place into something magical. Strings of lights hung from the rafters. Fresh flowers filled the air with their scent. In the middle of it all stood Anna, radiant and smiling as Ryan knelt before her. "I sat at the wrong table," he began, voice trembling slightly, "and somehow found the right person. You taught me that the best things in life happen when plans fall apart. I don't love you despite your wheelchair. I love you because you're you, wheels and all. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Anna's cheeks as she whispered, "Yes." 6 months later, under a soft golden sunset, Robert Lawrence proudly walked his daughter down the aisle. During his speech at the reception, his voice broke with emotion. "I want to thank Ryan," he said, "for teaching me to truly see my daughter again. She was never broken. I just forgot how strong she was. Disability might change circumstances, but it never changes character. And love, real love, sees the person, not the limitation." The room filled with applause, not polite, but heartfelt. Sometimes the most beautiful chapters in life begin with a misunderstanding, a wrong turn, a mix-up, or in Ryan's case, the wrong table. Because sometimes the wrong table is exactly where you're meant to be, sitting across from the person who will change everything. So if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of love that sees beyond limitations. And tell us, have you ever made a mistake that led you exactly where you were meant to be? Maybe your story will remind someone out there to take a chance on the unexpected.